Welcome to Pandaria. I have a goat. Pretty cute, isn't it? The pet system in Pandaria got changed again, and it actually makes the most sense out of any expansion, which I know it's a low bar, but it is true. So the best thing about the new pet system is that back in Cataclysm there were ferocity pets, there were cunning pets, and there were tanking pets. But in Pandaria, any pet can be any type. Of course, we are going to take ferocity. It is 10% more damage, it is dash for movement speed, very important. You know, the more your pet is away from the boss, the more your pet takes to move, the less uptime, the less damage. 50% extra damage right here, 70% attack speed as a cooldown, and you can res it immediately. So for raiding, absolutely, you gotta go ferocity every single time, it is not even close. Everything else is a bit of a meme, maybe for PvP that's a thing, but it's a meme. Now that doesn't mean that your little friend over here will not be important. Your choice of pet actually does matter. For example, the goat, it has trample. It is basically just a course of tongues to make enemies cast less. Now the goat is just a random mob I picked right here. The goat is not a meta pet at all. I just found it and I thought it was funny. Oh boy, the server just went down. I wanted to show you a wolf. Very well, we're gonna have to go to Wowhead like the good old times. Another thing you gotta remember is that Bite, which used to be the best ability, is now the same as Smack. There is another one, I don't know the name, but there is another Peck, maybe something like that. Doesn't matter, Scratch, whatever. They are different in name, yes, but they are the same ability. So that means that rotation-wise, damage-wise, your pet can be Ferocity and your pet can get the same abilities no matter what. Where it changes is the buff. Now there are several buffs that you gotta remember, and you should have one pet of each. There is zero barrier of entry to changing pets anymore, so you should absolutely keep a bunch of them. But we're gonna go over them really quick. There is actually a lot of buffs you can get. Also keep in mind, if you're Beastmaster, you have access to exotic pets. Some animals are not tameable unless you are Beastmastery. So we're gonna go over those too, so you get access to a little more buffs. First of all, we got the 5% increase stats. That's the same as the Druid buff or Blessing of Kings. That's gonna be the Shale Spider. This pet used to be crappy in Cataclysm because it was a tanking pet, but now it can be a ferocity pet. That's the entire point. We can use any buff now. You can get 5% spell haste with Spore Bats. You can get 5% critical strike with the Hydra, the Wolf, the Devil Sword, which is now an exotic pet, just like in Cataclysm, and the Quillen and the Water Strider. You can get 10% haste from the Hyena and the Serpent, not the Wind Serpent, the normal Serpent. That's just a snake. You can get a Bloodlust, a Heroism. Actually, if you're Beastmastery with the Core Hound, it's the same as in Cataclysm. It's pretty cool, I guess. You're never gonna use this one. Mages got Heroism now, and Shamans. Like, if you're missing a Mages and Shamans in your raid, you need a new raid. There is also the Course of Tongues, the casting speed slow that we were talking about with the goat, but also you can get it from the Fox, the Spore Bat, and the Core Hound. You can even get a combat res. Yes, a combat res now. The Quillen, the new pet from Pandaria, only for Beastmastery, can give you another battle res. You can get Mortal Strike from the Devil Sword. You can get the Mastery buff from the cat. There is also a variant of the cat for Beastmastery, which is just the glowy cat from the cash shop. It's in Pandaria, you can catch it. It's not on cash shop, but there's a mount from the cash shop in that thing. The TCG mount, isn't it? Yeah, you can get that one. There is a 10% physical damage reduction that you can get from the bear or from the carrion bird. That's just demo shout. There is a 4% physical vulnerability buff. You can get it from the boar, the ravager, and if you are Beastmastery, there is also now the rhino. Very cool. He has Stampede, but it is not the same Stampede as the Hunter cooldown Stampede. Why did they go for two abilities with the same name on the same class? I don't know. Too much work. And there is also the worm, he can do that too. You can also get Fortitude, the stamina buff from the Silitids. Those are the bog people from Anquirage. You can go to Silitos and pick them up. They are there, you can do that. And you also got the minus 12% armor debuff from the Raptor and the Tall Strider. That's the Plain Strider from the Barrens. That guy, yes, you can get one of those. Now those are the buffs. There is also a ton of utility abilities. For example, the mod has an interrupt. The Spirit Beast, that cat we were talking about, he actually has a heal as another cooldown you can use. The Bat and the Wasp, there are so many bug pets in this game. I like that. They have a stone. The Porcupine has an AoE stone. That's another new one. The Porcupine is so freaking cute, man. The Scorpion and the Birds of Prey, those are like falcons, different type of bird from the carrion bird. They have a disarm. The crane, another bird, is new to Pandaria. It has a sleep. The crocodile and the warp stalker got a slow. The warp stalker is the guy from TBC, you know, like in Terocar Forest, those guys that go invisible. You can get a root from the spider, the crab, or the dog. The dog is not the same as the wolf. That's a new pet from Cataclysm. You can even get some new dogs in Pandaria. They look pretty cool. They are very popular. There are some other niche utility I'm not gonna go over, like the water strider. The famous water strider lets you walk on water. We know that. So going back to the main question of this video, what is the best hunter pet? Now, I am tempted to give you the obvious answer that whatever buff you need, that's the best pet. Yes, but also, what if we do not need a buff? What if we do not need utility? What if we are selfish? What if we want to do the best damage in the game? I saved this one for last because there is a way to get a pet that will do more damage than any other pet. Wanna see what's funny? Wanna see who are the two best pets in the game? The best pet in the game for DPSing in raids will be the Chimera and the Worm. And these two are Beast Mastery. They are exotic beasts. But why? Just why is the Worm and the Chimera the best pets in the game? Well, exotic pets have an exotic ability, and for these two, it is AoE damage. Now, do not guide yourself by this formula. I think I am convinced this formula is wrong, because the Chimera actually went through a lot of balance changes, and they eventually got it to do the same damage as Burrow. I don't know what data Wowhead is pulling, but that should be the case in the full release. What changes though is that Burrow is an AoE around the pet, and Frost Stormbred has more range, but it's a cone. Do you got any idea how annoying it is to aim a cone with a pet that you're not controlling directly? It is really annoying. So you gotta target a mob and then aim and then press the button, and then it's gonna break on in front of it, and you can hope it will hit all the mobs doing that. That's gonna be really hard because the pet is gonna be right on melee range of the mob, and like, what are the chances that that mob is like separate enough from the other mobs in a cone direction that you're gonna hit every single one? You are not. Frost Stormbred is very hard to aim, it is very hard to launch, and that's annoying. Burrow is just an AoE around the pet that is much easier to hit. Both of them are a casted ability, it takes 8 seconds, it's like a blizzard, consider it something like that, and they cannot attack during it, they can move during it, but they cannot attack during it, so this will only be useful in AoE damage. They will not increase your single target damage at all, but in AoE fights, in AoE phases, they will be the best pets in the game. So, if you do not need a buff, if you do not need a special ability for utility, the best pet in the game, I know, I didn't want to do it. I cannot tell you in good conscience to do it, but this is the truth, and I hate the truth. This thing that you're looking at, somehow, against all odds, is officially the best pet in Mist of Pandaria. Now that's a plot twist. Now that's a crazy ending, isn't it? Remember guys, it will only matter in AoE fights. In every other fight, any pet will do exactly the same. Getting a buff that you need will always be more important than not getting a buff that you need. This AoE is not that much, but there is a reason that the Worm is the best pet even because of that. Let's hope the server is back up. We're gonna talk about that. Come on, MoP beta, why you do this to me? Very well, so let me call my pet very quick. I got a wolf as an illustration. The wolf has the 5% crit buff, we know about that. Now there is a mechanic like in Cataclysm where you cannot buff your pet anymore. For example, I have True Shot Aura right here, but I cannot buff my wolf. He doesn't have it. Now back in Cataclysm, a pet buff could buff itself. So the crit buff from the wolf could use it for the party and also buff himself. So that made the wolf and the cat to a lesser extent the best pet in the game. But sadly, they fixed it. If you take a look at here, I'm gonna pop Furious Howl, the crit buff, and as you can see, I have it, but my wolf doesn't have it anymore. So yeah, that's the main change of pets in Cataclysm. They fixed that mechanic. I think this is good actually, okay, because jokes aside about the worm, if you are insane, I guess you can go for a worm for extra AoE damage, like that little bit of extra damage, but for everybody else, the non-insane people, we are free to take whatever we want. And you want to know what is gonna be my pet in Pandaria? I will show you. It's gonna be this guy. I wanted to have a Pteromod as a pet since TBC. I can finally do it. I am finally free. What, you mad, bro? You mad? It's never been a better time to play a hunter. And there is a reason that the hunter is one of the most popular classes in MoP. Actually, probably the most popular class in MoP. Subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.